Good evening and welcome to another edition of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. It's episode number 37 for this Monday night, November 21st, 2022. And this is our concluding episode of a great toy that we had looked at 3 parts, just like our Matchbox series was 3 parts. We're looking at the final part, Hot Wheels, and it's a good one tonight. We'll look at all of the classic models and other great things that Hot Wheels had produced over the course of their time with Mattel and with all of the collectors. And, well, there's just so much to cover. We're not going to be able to cover it quickly enough. So let's get to it right now on Jay's Retro Toys and Games. All right, welcome to the show. Hope you had a great weekend. And this is episode number 37 coming at you live from the WJDC studios in beautiful Oviedo, Florida for this edition of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. This is part 3 of our final look at the toy line from 1968, the Hot Wheels. And we're going to look at classics and special model lines and finish up this great history of this classic toy that pretty much was in competition to the Matchbox car. And then on this Wednesday, we're going to look at a game, finally. We'll be there. So I know you're wondering to yourself, did it ever end? Well, it's going to end tonight. So we'll delve right in and get going on this 37th episode of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. Happy to have you with us here tonight. Let's go to the Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia for all the great information. The Hot Wheels Classics line was an immediate hit with enthusiasts everywhere, and the new line focused on muscle cars, hot rods, and other offbeat vehicles such as a go-kart, a motorhome, and even an airplane. And many from the company's first 10 years, from 68 to 78 of production. The series is also used to debut several different castings, such as the 1965 Chevy Malibu or the 1972 Ford Ranchero. Now, Series 1 from 2005 consisted of 25 models, each with all metal body and chassis decked out with Spectraflame paint in packages similar to those used from the 68 to 72 series. Each car had a retail price of about $3 to $4, and each of the 25 cars were released with 7 or 8 different colors. Models included the 1957 Chevy Bel Air and the 1963 Ford T-Bird and the 1965 Pontiac GTO. And there were also track sets in similar retro packaging and a 1/18 scale Hot Wheels Classics. Now, the Classics version of the Purple Passion was released with real riders' tires at the San Diego Comic-Con. Mattel also produced the Classics Olds 442 in Spectraflame Blue for the 2005 Toy Fair. In late 2005, Series 2 now consisted of 30 models, including the 1967 Camaro convertible, the 69 Dodge Charger, and the 65 Mustang GT. There was also supposed to be a separate Mustang Funny car, as listed on the blister pack rear checklist, but this was apparently changed to a Plymouth Barracuda Funny car during production. In 2006, a Series 3 line of classics was introduced, again containing 30 models with multiple colors of each vehicle. Models included the 69 Pontiac Firebird, a Myers Max Dune Buggy, and the Richard Petty 70 Plymouth Superbird. 2007, Series 4 debuted with just 15 models. However, in recognition of the 40th anniversary, there were 2 packaging versions available. Models came with a collectible metal badge featuring a portrait of the involved vehicle, or were sold alone as in the previous 3 series. Models included a VW Carmen Ghia, a 68 Mercury Cougar, and a Red Baron Hot Rod. And for its 40th anniversary in 2008, Hot Wheels celebrated the making of its 4 billionth car with the production of a diamond-studded model worth $140,000. It had 2,700 diamond chips, a total of almost 23 carats, and was cast in white gold with rubies serving as taillights. In 2009, Series 5 had 30 models, and for the first time, there are chase cars in the classic series. These cars feature real riders, rubber tires. A few models included are Copper Stopper and the 1970 Pontiac GTO and Hammer Sled. Now, Hot Wheels has also released slightly larger, more detailed models, such as the original Grand Toros, that's a 1/43 scale from 1970, and the Drop Stars line, which is a model line of blinged cars. Now, also in this larger scale are the HIN. They're the Hot Import Knights, the G Machines, and the Custom lines. These lines were introduced in 04 and 05. Hot Wheels has produced many replica scale models in the industry standard 143, 124, 118 scales. And then in 2004, it released a 112 scale replica of the C6 Corvette. They also, in the early 90s, introduced a series known as the California Customs, which were a line of cars that had a California theme. Other lines from Hot Wheels include the RR Rumblers and Chop Cycles. Those were the motorcycles introduced in 71. The Hot Birds metal airplanes, the Sizzlers, the XV Racers, the Hot Tuners, and the Stalkers. And over the years, Mattel has also teamed up with other retail organizations to produce special models available through those retailers. The list includes Avon, Chuck E. Cheese, Dinty Moore, FAO Schwartz, Full Grid, General Mills, Getty, HEB, Hills, Hormel, Hughes Family Markets, J.C. Penney, J.C. Whitney, KB Toys, Kmart, Kellogg's, Kool-Aid, Kroger, Lexmark, Liberty Promotions, contracted the series of special models for Jiffy Lube and Penske, Little Debbie Snacks, Malto Meal, McDonald's, Mervyn's, Otter Pops, Rose's Discount Stores, Shell, Target, Tony's Pizza, Toys R Us, Union 76, Valvoline, Vanderkamp's, Walmart, and White's Guide to Collecting, as well as several Major League Baseball franchises, to name a few. Then in 2016, Hot Wheels released a special collection for the 50th anniversary of the Beatles' 1966 song, Yellow Submarine. The collections included 5 cars, a VW microbus, and a yellow submarine. In some cases, Hot Wheels dies have been sold or acquired by other companies once Mattel has finished using them. One example were early dies that made their way to Argentina and were reproduced as Mukeys. That's M-U-K-Y-S. And though not with Spectra Flame paints or the same quality as seen in Mattel's products, Hot Wheels have a series called Hot Wheels Elite and Hot Wheels Mattel. The Elite Hot Wheels are 118, 143, and 150 highly detailed diecast, and the majority of them being based on Ferraris. They are more expensive than the Mattel models, which aren't as highly detailed, and the Elite versions are licensed by Ferrari. The Hot Wheels Elite series have a mini-series which can be seen on the website. 2 of the popular limited 118 Hot Wheels Elite series are the Ferrari in Music and Cold Classics. The Music series features singers and rappers Ferraris, including Jamiroquai's, JK's Black, Enzo Ferrari. Jamiroquai's. Wow. Then in 2016, Hot Wheels started a new line of collector's models in a line called Car Culture. Now, Car Culture is Hot Wheels' line of premium 164 models with metal bodies and bases, 2-piece wheels with rubber tires, and more detailed decorations. Intended for adult collectors primarily, these models retail for roughly 6 to 7 times the cost of a mainstream 164 Hot Wheels model. This line debuted with the release of Japan Historics, which is a set of 5 Japanese sports cars. And every year at least 4 more sets are introduced. All car culture sets have 5 cars and often have new castings created for the sets. The number 5 spot in the set is usually reserved for the newest casting in the set, and car culture cars are typically based on real automobiles. However, in 2018, Hot Wheels introduced a set called Team Transport, which included some fantasy truck castings. And the fact that some of the trucks are unlicensed allows the castings to be universally used in any Team Transport set regardless of theme. For example, a Chevrolet branded truck would not make sense in a Ford themed set, although Team Transport is labeled under the car culture line, and they are a separate category of car culture vehicles than the usual 5-car sets, possessing different barcodes and prices. These cars retail for over 3 times the retail price of a basic car and are produced in significantly fewer numbers. And then in 2018, for the Hot Wheels 50th anniversary, car culture card sizes were increased along with the amount of decorations on the cars. A Hot Wheels 50th anniversary logo was also placed beside the set's name on the packaging. Now, Treasure Hunt is a line of Hot Wheels cars introduced by Mattel in 1995. And it consisted of 12 cars every year, 15 beginning in 2011, with 1 or 2 released per month. The original production run was 10,000 of each car worldwide, and that number has since risen due to the increasing demand for and popularity of Hot Wheels as a collector's item. Treasure Hunt vehicles are identifiable by a label on the package. The blister card said Treasure Hunt or T-Hunt on a green bar, and sometimes with an illustration of a treasure chest. Since 2013, Treasure Hunts do not have the green stripe anymore. Instead, the cars are recognizable with a flame in a circle logo on the vehicle and behind it on the card. The cars were decorated with flashy designs and special rubber wheels before 2007. Then in 2007, Mattel introduced a 2-tiered Treasure Hunt system. A regular Treasure Hunt will feature normal enamel paint and normal wheels like other Hot Wheels cars. The production of these is rumored to be greater than previous T-Hunts. Super Treasure Hunts are much harder to find. Like Treasure Hunts of the past, a Super Treasure Hunt features premium wheels and Spectra Flame paint, as well as, starting in 2015, a golden-colored Circle Flame logo printed on the card behind the car. And then many Hot Wheels collectors have noticed in recent times that the U.S. basic mixes are more likely to have a Super Treasure Hunt in them compared to international mixes. Before 2013, all 12 Treasure Hunt cars of a year were released in both regular and super versions. In 2012, Super Treasure Hunts came with special paint and wheels, but with series designation on the card. However, the regular T-Hunts retained a special T-Hunt series card, and Mattel stopped using special cards for all Treasure Hunts in 2013. Some U.S. releases in 2014 had the phrase, "This symbol on the vehicle lets you know it is hard to find and highly collectible." However, in 2016, this was changed to "Congratulations. This symbol means you just found a collectible Treasure Hunt car." This would be under a silver flame logo on the card for T-Hunts. And in 2015, Supers featured a gold logo on the card. Generally, Hot Wheels has targeted both kids and adults with the T-Hunt series, focusing more on the adult collecting market with Supers. Now, on January 30th of 2003, Columbia Pictures announced that they had gained exclusive rights to developing a feature film based on the toy line Hot Wheels, with MCG attached to direct. And although unwritten, the premise involved a young man trying to reconcile with his father. It's a kid who steals his dad's race car and ends up going through a sort of Back to the Future portal into this world. And he has to reconcile his relationship with his father. Then in 2006, MCG said that he dropped out as director and chose to produce instead. Now to 2009, with no recent developments, the film was put into turnaround and the rights were handed over to Warner Brothers. Joe Silver took over producing with Matt Nix writing the script. The film will be produced by Columbia Pictures, Flying Glass of Milk Films, and Silver Pictures under license to Mattel. June 17, 2011, it was announced that Legendary Pictures is developing a film based on Hot Wheels due to the success of Fast 5 by developing an edgier film. July 10th of 2013, Simon Crane and Juan Carlos Fresnadillo were named as the frontrunners to direct the film, with Art McCrum and Matt Holloway writing the film, intended to be more Mission Impossible than The Fast and the Furious. September 28th of 2016, Justin Lin signed on to direct the film, which will be produced through his production company, Perfect Storm Entertainment. August 1st, 2017, Lin revealed that the film was still in development, and it was speculated that the film will be released as a computer-animated direct sequel to 2003's Hot Wheels World Race, and will be given additional animation development for Playground Games, who collaborated with Mattel in 2017 to create the Forza Horizon 3 Hot Wheels video game. However, the option expired and returned to Mattel. Late January 2019, Mattel Films and Warner Brothers Pictures agreed to partner on a Hot Wheels film. It was announced on September 25th of 2020 by The Hollywood Reporter that Warner Brothers has hired Neil Widener and Gavin James to write the film. April 25th of this year, it was announced that Bad Robot Productions will produce the film. The Sizzlers. They were a 1970s Hot Wheels spin-off with a built-in motor and a tiny rechargeable battery. The XV racers of the 90s were similar. They were introduced in 1970 and became immediately popular. Sizzlers run on the regular orange Hot Wheels track, and Mattel created special race sets with U-turns, multi-level spirals, and loops to take advantage of the car's electric motor. Two-lane race sets such as the California 8 race set were developed that allowed Sizzlers to race side by side until Mattel created the Black Fat Track, which is 3 lanes wide with steep banked curves and designed to allow Sizzlers to run free. In addition, or in action, Sizzlers supposedly display a unique competitive passing action when running on the Fat Track, as if each car were piloted by an impatient driver trying to jockey ahead of the rest. The Fat Track sets included the Big O, the California 500 and Super Circuit race sets, and accessories such as the Scramble Start, which is a 4-car starting gate, a lap computer, 4-car lap counter, and a race timer stopwatch. 6 cars were made in 1970, 12 cars in 71, and 4 were made in 1972. The Fat Daddy Sizzlers, oversized bodies with huge tires, were introduced in 73. Mattel put the Sizzlers on a hiatus after that year, and then came back in 1976. They created the second Sizzlers, or Sizzlers 2. That next year, the Night Ridin' Sizzlers, which had headlights you could turn on or off, were created. Mattel permanently stopped Sizzlers productions in 1978, and they were replaced by another spin-off named Scorchers. The Scorchers were pullback cars which wound a clock spring when pulled backwards a short distance, which then propelled them forward for several feet. We're going to take a break to kind of regain our thoughts here a little bit. When we come back, we'll give you more of the history of Hot Wheels in the Sizzlers and Scorchers area. We'll be right back right after this. And welcome back to Jay's Retro Toys and Games. It's Monday, November 21st, 2022. It's episode 37, and you're listening to part 3 of the Hot Wheels history. And we're concluding all of the good stuff here. We're in, right now, a category called the Sizzlers, or what they were first called, and then later on called Scorchers. And we're continuing to pick up where we were from that point. Okay, so Sizzlers, they are charged with 4 or 2D battery chargers called the Juice Machine and Goose Pump, respectively. Later, the Power Pit was introduced, which was an electric charger that plugged into any household AC outlet and resembled a racetrack garage or a pit stop. A 90-second charge of the tiny internal NiCad battery gives up to 5 minutes of useful runtime. It was claimed by advertisers that the 90-second charge time was the longest minute and a half in a kid's life, as they waited impatiently for the car to charge sufficiently to get back into the race. The Sizzler electric technology spun off into the Hotline trains, which ran on tracks similar to regular Hot Wheels, and the Earth Shakers construction vehicles. Both lines of vehicles were charged using the Sizzler Juice Machine or Power Pit. In the 90s, Mattel's trademark on the Sizzler's name had lapsed, and toy company Playing Mantis released a new Sizzlers line based around NASCAR stock car models and copied the Fat Track as the Stalker 400 and Mach 500 track sets to capitalize on the booming popularity of NASCAR in that decade. The Juice Machine was renamed the Mega Charger and incorporated a more efficient trickle charge rather than the dump charge of the original machines. Interest in the toys began to increase once again, and they were taken off the market after Mattel filed a lawsuit against Playing Mantis. However, Sizzlers returned again in 2006 when Mattel struck an exclusive deal with Target stores to re-release Sizzlers cars, the Big O Fat Track, Juice Machine, and car carrying case, all in the original packaging from the 70s. As of January 2009, the Sizzlers line has been discontinued by Target. In 2011, Sizzlers have been re-released as Cars 2 characters and were sold at Target stores. This line was called Charge Ups and released under the Mattel brand name, but not as part of the Hot Wheels line. Then, Hot Wheels appeared in the 2016 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And then, starting in 1970, professional drag racers Don Prudhomme, the Snake, and Tom McEwen, the Mongoose, were sponsored by Hot Wheels. And later on, Hot Wheels created the Snake and the Mongoose drag set in 1970. Later, somewhere in 1972, the second versions of both drivers' self-titled funny cars were released, when McEwen had the Mongoose 2 and Prudhomme had the Snake 2. The drag set remained the same. Then Hot Wheels made rail-type dragster versions of them based on the actual funny cars and was featured in the Wild Wheelie set. Later in Hot Wheels' lifespan, the normal drag set with Snake and Mongoose were still being produced. The latest set with the Snake and the Mongoose is in the drag strip Demons lineup. In 1970, Hot Wheels sponsored Trans Am Series driver Dan Gurney and his All-American Racers car. In 1992, Hot Wheels sponsored the Trans Am car of Jack Baldwin, and he went on to win that year's championship. Hot Wheels signed a sponsorship deal in 1997 with NASCAR driver Kyle Petty and the number 44 PE2 Motorsports car, and thus began making replicas of NASCAR stock cars. 3 years later, Hot Wheels joined the Craftsman Truck Series team of Carlos Contreras and the number 12 truck. 2004, Hot Wheels sponsored the number 99 car of Jeff Burton for one race at Darlington Raceway. 6 years later, the company returned to NASCAR to sponsor the number 7 JR Motorsports car of Danica Patrick at Michigan International Speedway. Hot Wheels made another one-off sponsorship in 2021 for NASCAR driver Jade Buford's number 48 Big Machine Racing team car at Darlington Raceway, and Buford's paint scheme for the race was modeled after Gurney's Trans Am car. 1999, Hot Wheels partnered with 5 Formula One teams to manufacture scale model Formula One cars. In 2016, Hot Wheels opened the Race to Win exhibit at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis to promote the 100th Indianapolis 500. From 1999 to 2018, Hot Wheels had a Monster Jam license to release monster truck diecast and a field of Hot Wheels themed truck in the real-life shows. And after the partnership ended, diecast production stopped and the Hot Wheels team retired. Soon after, Hot Wheels created the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks line and the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks live show with the non-Monster Jam-owned version of the Bigfoot truck as a competitor. Monster Jam claimed this as a plagiarism, causing controversy. Then, at the 2002 24 Hours of Le Mans, Hot Wheels logos appeared on the side pods of the pair of MG Lola EX257 prototypes, entered by MG Sport and Racing. Hot Wheels is a partner and sponsor of the Australian stunt rider Matt McGinn Mingay's Stunts Inc. team, and also sponsors him in the Stadium Super Trucks. After Mingay suffered serious facial injuries at the Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix in 2016, Robbie Gordon drove the number 2 Hot Wheels truck at the Townsville Street Circuit. Hot Wheels and Castro returned to support Mingay when he made his racing return in 2020. Well, there were various video games based on Hot Wheels, and they have been released for a number of consoles. The one I remember, folks, was Hot Wheels Crash. In 1999, it was released for Microsoft Windows. I think they still have versions out there that you can use for earlier versions of Windows. There was a whole bunch of them. And there was also a coin-operated pinball machine based on Hot Wheels cars, and the Hot Wheels City YouTube series was released by American Pinball in June of 2020. And there you have it, friends, the final look at the 1968 toy that is still hot to this day, well over 54 years in the business, Hot Wheels. What a trip down memory lane. And thank you for joining me over these last couple of days for this 3-part series that concludes episode 37 and our look at Matchbox and Hot Wheels, 2 very important toy lines that have stood the test of time and today are still well recognized by every generation that has come in contact with that toy. Next time on the program, episode 38, we're going to look at a great game that we used to play when we were about 5 or 6 years of age. And really, I remember it as one of my first games, board games of playing. And we're going to look at that. And it's called Candyland. That's right, Candyland, folks. There's a lot of gameplay to it and a lot of history. There's a great reception, and there's a lot of versions of it. We'll look at the characters, the legacy. There was also a film and television adaptation. All of that on the pre-Thanksgiving episode of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. I'm Jason DeCanio. Thank you very much for joining me on the conclusion of episode 37. We will see you on Wednesday for a look at the game of Candyland. Till then, remember, be honest, be real, and keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Democracy Network for great more content like this one.